How are you?
Great, thank you. How are you doing?
Oh, good, thank you, lovelies. It's so nice to finally meet you both. All of you.
We look so beautiful.
Oh my gosh, I put so much makeup on. Thank you, my lovely. In this heat, I don't think that was a very good idea.
No,
She's done that.
it's so hot here.
So hot.
Thank you. Your backdrop looks amazing as well.
I thought I'd give you a bit of interest.
Looks great.
I like collecting little random watercolors and stuff. I've had them all for years, and then just thought I'd make like a gallery wall.
Gorgeous. We've just moved into our new office, so we've done some shuffling around this morning. Literally just today, it's the first day in it.
You moved in today, like you actually moved. Yeah, get up so early, you poor thing. I can't get over that. So do you all live nearby the office as well?
Yeah, all within about 10-15 minutes of each other. Yeah, so
good.
And it's our first one, so
my gosh, it's so exciting. You guys are flying. Like Sunday Girl is a stunning publication. Like honestly, I've never seen such a beautiful magazine. It's so gorgeous, and like it's very, very unique. You've definitely got your own like stamped style on it. I've never seen anything like it. It's beautiful, just beautiful.
It's so lovely to hear. Thank you so much.
Honestly, it's gorgeous. I'm so honored to be in it at all. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. My mum has it on her, like, so like it sounds really weird, but in the bathroom she has like a couple of magazines I've been in. So like it's like cool. She's got it like if anyone goes to the loo, they're like, oh, okay. It's like, very sweet.
Love it. Oh, well, thank you so much for doing this with us.
Oh, no, it's a pleasure.
So
thank
you.
you.
To you. We've got some really cool topics to talk about today, which I know you were quite excited about. So we're going to kick off with, I think, my favourite topic, positive queen vibes.
Positive
you
queen.
Just radiate positivity and energy and light. How do you stay so positive all the time?
I honestly don't know. It's sometimes just I just squeeze it out, I think, like a lemon. But I don't know. I think I've just been so blessed with just the most lovely family, lovely friends, and I'm just very, very grateful all the time for everything I've got. And I also love people to feel good. So I almost just want to share, good vibes, whether it's telling, women they look beautiful, because I just love doing that, because I really cherish all my like girlfriends in a sense, and I just always want them to feel their absolute best. And I think it's just spreading the love that, I just think should be spread. And, whether I get it in return or not, it's fine. It's just more like, I want people to feel good around me. And I always feel happy when others are like, oh, I feel so happy, talking to you or whatever. I'm like, oh, it just makes my day. So that's just my thing, I guess.
Honestly, we've just got to say, getting your messages in our Instagram inbox is the best messages. Like they are. Every time we see our name pop up, we're like, oh my god, have you seen that message from Eliza?
Flower emoji, heart emoji, sparkle emoji, all the emojis.
And you are like that in person as well. I mean, through the screen, you absolutely are. I feel like I'm such a positive queen as well. Like I always get told, I always look for like the positives in everything. And sometimes it's to my detriment, because I never expect anything to ever go wrong. And then when it does, I'm very underprepared.
Like,
I'm like, oh, really? Why is this happening to me? What about you, Millie? Do you feel a positive queen?
I am a positive queen. Recently, I do sometimes feel like I really have to actively practice it. I think it's really easy to get bogged down when I'm tired with work. I've got so much on my schedule. I can actually be a little bit of a grump. I can be a little, not just in my home, and sometimes I just want to sit on my own, but then other times I've got to I actually really now try and say to myself, come on, Millie, it's nothing you cannot do. Just say yes to everything, and if you can't do it, then it's not the end of the world.
Good positive affirmation.
You need to start with your affirmations. I'm really trying to practice it more. I've seen loads of it on social media recently, and it is that there is nothing I cannot do. And I try every time I think I'm stuck, that is what comes into my head.
I love that. Maybe that's gorgeous. I almost feel like you're right. It is a sense of like training yourself, because it can be a mindset and an attitude. It's like habitual. So you either fall into patterns of feeling really, also the way we feel, we can't help, 99% of the time, I cannot help the way I feel. Sometimes I wake up and I genuinely, even me, I will wake up and I'm like, like the tiniest thing. And I'm just like, nobody likes me. This is the worst thing. And then I have to like think of like everything I do have and how flipping lucky I am. And just, I just think actually, instead of being in that mindset, let me twist it. And I do, it's like an active kind of like thought process. And, you have to adapt your way of thinking and your outlook, I suppose. And even remembering silly sayings. I know this sounds so cheesy. This is like dripping in gorgonzola. It's so cheesy, but like, the phrase of like, always look on the bright side of life. Or I don't know if you guys have seen, there's a video made by Baz Luhrmann, who's like the famous director. He made a video, I can't remember how long it was ago, probably 20 years old, very old. And it's just a video you can go on YouTube, and it's called Everybody Should Wear Sunscreen. And for some reason, whenever I feel a bit funny, even if it's about like, because I feel like young women these days, we often feel quite funny about our bodies. We compare ourselves all the time to people. Social media, as we know, is like the biggest, portal of just, yes, great stuff, but also like pure comparison. And, it can be really tough vortex to navigate. And in this video, Baz Luhrmann basically talks about, because everybody should wear sunscreen. That's one of the things, because like to protect your skin, but it goes beyond that. And then within the message, there's one part that goes, one day you'll look back at yourself as like our age now, when you're in your 80s, and you'd give anything to be in the body you are now, and believe how you used to treat yourself. And you look back and think, God, I was absolutely beautiful, and I was absolutely perfect. And all I did was bully myself, and what I would give to just sit in that body for the one day now. And I just think, honestly, it just makes me feel like, because it's so true. And I think that's why I remind myself as well, not to be too like about anything, if it's the way I look, or all those kinds of things. So check out Everybody Should Wear Sunscreen, Baz Luhrmann.
Wow, I love that. And you know what? Sometimes I think when I'm feeling like really rubbishy or something like that, I think everything that you sort of have now, one day you really wished for that, and you really wished you'd be in the position you're in now. And so you just need to be sort of grateful in a way of everything that's happening, all the opportunities you have. I love the saying, do something today that your future self would thank you for, even if it's just something small, or like just something that you look back and go, I'm so glad I did that, even if it's just a little sort of act. And even just little positive things every day, and thinking, even practicing like self-love or appreciation, or like, telling your family that you love them so much, or something like that. Just doing that is just so, I think, helpful.
That's gorgeous. Yes. And I remember seeing a saying that was like that. I love that saying you just said. And then there was one that was like, do you remember when you wanted what you have today, or what you just gotten today? And like, because sometimes we just want more and more and more. And it's just like, kind of, I don't know, like, what's it, like a hamster wheel of feeling like, but I don't have that now, and I don't have that. But you're right, it's just a sense of like, but look at what I do have, and like affirming it, looking around, being in the present. And I have to really work on that. And I do think like phones and things like that have made our attention span not as brilliant. And I don't know if you guys do this, but I often think of our parents' generation and go, they didn't have to, like the things that we are just made to focus on. And we can't help it either, because it is the world we live in. There's so much technology. There's just pressures that they never had because they didn't exist. They had different pressures for sure, stuff that we would never understand because the world has changed and it looks different. But like, I don't know, just sometimes I just feel like there's like that our generation definitely is taken on, and whether in the future we start to change it, or I don't know what it is, but it's just something that I just think about. Like, our parents didn't have to worry about, if they came home from work, they would just go home and that would be it. No one would be able to get hold of them even. Obviously I want to be hermit. This is like me being like, I'm now a hermit. I'm moving to a cave in the Pyrenees. I've never been again. But I think of that too.
I really miss the days. This sounds probably quite niche, but when I was like 12 and I used to be on MSN, and I used to put on my status, gone for tea or something like that, we'll talk to you tomorrow, I'll be right back. And my friends couldn't contact me or
No.
anybody. And I was gone. Be right back. Yeah. It doesn't happen now. I'm on constant access. People have constant access.
Definitely. And I've often like looked into, I haven't done one yet, but like my friends have done them, these like sort of detox retreat things where you literally give in your phone, your laptop and everything, and you just go and be. So whether that be, and it sounds so hippie, but like being in the forest or, you know, wherever, you could be anywhere, but it's that you actually surrender that thing. You have to learn to live without it. And it's just interesting. And I just feel like for our generation, that it's a big thing that we carry around all day. And I do think it affects mental health. So when we're talking about positivity and happiness, that's one of the things that I'm often aware of, sometimes being like, maybe I should distance myself from it. But obviously there's so much good within it too, so much wonderfulness that we can have instant connection with the people we love. So I absolutely know there's the most amazing positive sides of it, but sometimes it's okay to have a break. And like, if anyone's, you know, whoever's listening to our podcast today, is the sense of like, yeah, you can allow yourself to have a break and it can do you a little good.
Yeah, we have it, especially with Sunday Girl and running such a creative vessel all the time. All we want to do is talk about it. We are so active every single day on the group chat, the whole team. It is just non-stop pinging, whether we're at work, and everyone in the team does different things every day. So around the clock we're active. So you can kind of tell on our group chat when someone maybe is a little bit burnt out or taking a little holiday, or try not to talk to them because they're on time out and things. And I think it is really important, because even you can be doing the loveliest thing in the world, your favorite job, you could be having the time of your life, but if you don't have a step back and take that little rest, then it actually ends up becoming in a bit of a knot that you can't really undo. And it'll just get more and more tangled, and it gets more and more frustrating. So it is really important to not be accessible 24/7, like as we are at the moment. Because it is really hard to stay positive 24/7. So if someone contacts you and you're just not in the mood, and then you're pretending, and then you're really trying to G yourself up over social media, and you just get in this like spiral. So yeah, I think you are right. I think it is so important for mental health as well, especially the age on our phones at the moment, just to take a break.
Definitely. I completely agree with you both. And especially as to the even younger generation, because like luckily we kind of grew up, I don't know how old you both are, but I'm going to be 30 at the end of July, so I'm my age. But like we grew up without phones, in the sense, if you were like kind of born in the 90s or whatever. But anyone who was kind of born in the last 10 to 15 years, I'm like, oh my God, bless them, because that's all they've known. So I'm just so lucky that I lived a life that I knew it without it, so that I can kind of compare the two and go, oh, maybe I was a bit happier before, maybe I was, you know, there's more of a wholesomeness that you were just living your life kind of thing. So it's nice just for the younger generation, for them to know that you don't have to have it all. If it's all going on, doesn't mean you have to, I guess, comply with it at all times and stuff. Just throw your phone in the ocean. No, don't throw it in the ocean. No, the ocean. Just put it in the drawer for 4 hours. That would be absolutely fun.
I'm going to be 30 in April next year as well. So I'm feeling the pressure probably as you are, which is ridiculous. But I don't know whether it's like our generation, but I always look back at old photos of when I was a kid and see it in really rose tinted glasses and think, if I could go back there now, I would literally do anything. I feel like everything was so much, even the Christmases. I don't know. We have such Instagrammable Christmases now, and I'm sick of it.
Yes.
I just want some tacky streamers.
Exactly. Do you know what? That is so true. Even Christmases felt more magical. I don't know whether that was, sometimes I think that like, oh, is it because we were younger and, you know, it's just so exciting? Or is there a sense that, I don't know, it's almost like you go on Instagram. Like, so for me, for instance, this is actually such a good topic, because for Christmases in my household are quite quiet because I'm an only child. So it's just me and my parents. And then I would, like, in the last few years, go on Instagram and see these unbelievable big families, like with, you know, grandparents, aunties and uncles, cousins, siblings, grandchildren. I'm like, oh my gosh. And they're all just doing the most amazing stuff. Not to say my Christmases, you know, weren't amazing, because they were absolutely perfect and gorgeous. And, you know, that's our family. But I remember thinking, oh my God, I don't have that, you know, so was my Christmas not as good as theirs? You know, and it's so strange what your mind can do if it's led to comparison. There's another quote, got loads of quotes, and now I forgot what it is, but something like, comparison is the root
thief.
to,
Thief of joy.
Thief of joy, that's it. Comparison is the thief of joy. And that's where, again, talking about social media, because it all connects, it's all actually the same thing. It's the same feeling, the same thought of like, you know, just allowing yourself to go, oh, that isn't real. I mean, it is real, but, you know, those feelings you're feeling in the moment of comparing or looking, in a sense, is just like brought upon by something that isn't real, in the sense that you don't need to compare yourself to that. Because again, our parents' generation wouldn't have Christmas and then look at another 100 Christmases other people are having all over the world. They just have their Christmas and then go about the rest of their things. So I think that's an interesting, like, it's an extra element and layer that our generation is exposed to, that I feel like we kind of don't know how to navigate yet, because it's still quite new. So all these feelings and stuff, and I almost feel like one day, like, I don't know, there'll just be a much healthier way of looking at it all. But for now, we're wading through it and seeing all the good stuff, and then sometimes the not so good stuff that affects people. So it's very interesting. But you're right, Christmases were so cute. Just so cute, playing Twister.
Yeah. And sort of as we're approaching 30, I mean, Millie, you've got a couple of years, you're 26, aren't you?
Yeah, I've got a few years yet.
But I mean, we're both sort of feeling the pressure of looking at people who we go to school with, for example, who've got children or are in more of a sort of better financial situation than I am, and things like that. And even thinking about Christmases, looking at people who were in my year at school and how they're putting Christmases together for their kids. And I'm like, I have a dog. I don't have babies.
Yeah, I'm a dog mum also.
Dog. It's gorgeous.
We are just dog mums, aren't we?
And I've got the mum that's just rather be at home.
Sometimes that's harder work, I've heard, being a dog mama.
It is actually, isn't it? The dog walkers are expensive. Like childcare.
Absolutely breaking my bank. I need to get him a sponsorship deal later.
Shedding him on Instagram everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, it's adorable. But I completely know what you mean. Yeah, especially, you know, nearing 30, there's this thing of like, have you done this and this by now? I almost feel like my head is in like a, not a third life crisis, because it's not that extreme, but I'm kind of like weighing up, what have I done versus what I thought I'd done by now. And there's all this kind of like, oh, have I done this? Have I ever experienced that? Have I achieved the things I've wanted to? And actually, I wake up thinking that, and then I realize I have to just calm down all of those thoughts, because I have done so much, probably more stuff, you know, in different directions that I never thought I would do, you know, because you kind of plan your life out when you know, maybe graduate from university or whatever it is that you've done. And you kind of, when you're 21, 22, you're kind of like, I'm going to do all these things. But actually your life goes in so many different directions for so many different reasons. And, you know, they can be so much better. You can end up in places you never thought you would. And I guess it's just trying to ease off that pressure of like, wah. But my lovely boyfriend, Michael, he's a couple years older, so he'll be 32 this year. He said something like, when he turned 30, all those like pressures, actually, he was just like, do you know what? I don't care. Like, then you get a sense of kind of like, I'm 30 and like, oh my gosh, you know, you just look at yourself and give yourself a bit of, I don't know, like a break, and you can ease all of that in a sense. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. I really hope I do wake up thinking that, because if I don't, I'll be like, oh, for God's sake.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting point of life, especially I think for young women. I think there's something slightly different. As you said, there's those pressures of, yes, you know, marriage and children, and, you know, or just even career pressures of like, oh, did I get to that particular position I had wanted to? And it's just, you know, I think everybody just needs to be easier on themselves. And I'm really talking to myself as well in that vein, because I think it's, as we said, so hard to just compare. And yeah, I think even just being a good person is the best place to start. Like, you know, it kind of doesn't matter what accolades and this and that. I think people gravitate towards you or remember you for actually the qualities you bring to them, your friendships, or, you know, your work colleagues, how good you are with them. And, you know, that actually, I think, makes the biggest impact. And people can achieve, you know, what they want all day long. But I think if you're a good person, that sets, you know, you apart. And that's special in its own way. That is an achievement. So if you just kind of go for that, then that's good. You can pat yourself on the back, I feel.
Yeah, I love that. And I mean, if Michael says it's going to be just another day, then I'm happy with that.
Yeah,
I mean, in some ways I'm thinking, I want it to be anticlimactic. I want to wake up and not feel like I'm 30 and not feel any pressures. But in the other sense, I'm also wanting to feel a little bit more mature. I'm wanting to feel like I'm in the next step. I'm wanting to feel like I'm waking up as Jennifer Garner in 13 going on 30.
Yes.
And I'm this 30, flirty and thriving.
30, flirty and thriving.
Yeah. And I've said, like, for the last 3 or 4 years, I can't wait till I'm 30 and people take me more seriously. I'm a little bit more mature. I'm not just a 20-something. But then on the opposite side, I'm like, do I want to leave that behind? So torn.
Yeah, see, I remember when I was 16 thinking, I wonder what I'm going to be like in 10 years' time. And now it's 10 years later, I'm thinking, it's not different.
Are we really different?
Like, we obviously are, but I feel like, especially being kind of mid-20s as well, and I'm on my way to 30, I'm in that a bit of a scrambling thing, almost trying to tie up loose ends. Whereas I actually, like, now I've heard you two speak, I can't wait to get to 30 and just chill a little bit and just like, no, actually I feel like I'll feel fully adult when I'm 30. I still feel like I could be probably about 21 years old.
Me too.
So I feel like as soon as I hit 30, I might hit this new calm or a new sense of life. My life might not be going out on Friday, Saturday and Sunday. It might just be dog walks on the beach, and that's what I want in life. I'm heading that way now.
Totally. And it's interesting, both of you said something about, like, either, you know, you might wake up and you feel more serious, or you want people to take you more seriously, or that you kind of like have this feeling when you're 30 that you sort of settle down. But I the more I also think about it, and I completely agree with you, I have those two things in tandem in my head. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, but I actually hope I don't lose silliness, or that I become too serious. So there's also this thing of like, oh, I've grown up now, so therefore I have to act in a certain way, like my behaviors need to shift, you know, I can't be seen doing XYZ. But actually I've also seen, like, you know, things that people say that actually they've gotten sillier and sillier as they've gotten older. And I kind of think there's something quite magical and sweet in that. That doesn't mean not to be responsible and, you know, accountable and, you know, learning about yourself and stuff, but also the sense of like, you don't have to lose, you know, your silliness or your just zest of fun. So there's something about that where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm trying to balance up the two and go, well, I hope I don't become too kind of like, you know, I have to do too methodical, because actually after a while I feel like that would just, I don't know, just make you lose a bit of what the joy of life is, I guess.
Yeah, I've absolutely loved talking to you, Eliza. You
Oh,
just exude, honestly, you exude happiness and joy. The last thing we wanted to talk to you about was your Sundays. I mean, we touched a little bit on it in our interview in the magazine, but tell us, what do you do on a Sunday? What's your ideal Sunday?
You know what? I think they're all over the place, my Sundays. I would love to say I just curl up with a book and, you know, put on like, I don't know, breakfast TV, but I think I am very lucky. I really am lucky. I've got such a gorgeous pool of friends. And I think a lot of the time I'm just trying to scramble to be with my friends as much as possible and like go on like lovely little lunch dates and things like that. So I'd say most of my Sundays have a completely different like theme or landscape and stuff. And I get to kind of do everything, whether it's go off into a park with, you know, one of my mates, or go with my lovely boyfriend to the cinema. I love going to cinema. Or sometimes I'm up in Lincoln with my gorgeous parents. And that is just absolutely one of my favorite types of Sundays, is being up in Lincoln with my mum and dad. But yeah, I love that Sundays for me are a sprinkling of everything. They're always changing, which is really lovely. And when the Bake Off is on, I always like watch Great British Bake Off. That's like the best Sunday treat ever.
That sounds perfect.
How about you two? What do your Sundays look like?
We tend to meet on a Sunday, don't we?
Yeah, Sunday brunch, Sunday meetings.
We do Sunday, watch Laura Whitmore's breakfast show.
We do.
Nice.
Supporting Laura. Yeah, we do. But yeah, it's just usually all about family. I mean, I do a 9 to 5 weekday job when I'm not doing Sunday Girls. So I sometimes get the Sunday scaries where I'm like, oh, I've got Monday morning looming. Is my bag packed? That sort of thing.
Packing my bag is the way that I reset for the week. If my bag isn't packed on Monday morning to go, chaos. It starts with chaos, and I can feel it throughout the day. So I really have to have that ritual of making sure, right, my gym bag's packed, my work bag's packed, the dog's bag is packed. Where is the dog going tomorrow? Literally dog's one bag. Do you have any rituals that you have to make sure you do before maybe a heavy week at work or anything?
And with me again, because like work is all over the place. As an actor, it's just like, whoa, you know, you could be chilling for a bit, doing, you know, maybe a week of a couple of voiceovers or reading scripts or, you know, auditioning and stuff. And the next thing you know, they call you up and go, could you move to so-and-so, you know, to like halfway across the world? And you're like, yes. And then you're like, go back yourself. But in terms of like rituals, just for me, because I think, you know, my days again never look the same, which is fantastic and so much fun. Also, I hope you can't hear the building work. I'm so sorry if you can.
Can't hear it.
But oh my goodness. But rituals, I feel like for me, I love makeup and I love, you know, like hair and stuff like that. So I think, you know, getting that time at the end of the day to take off your makeup and, you know, I think a lot of women say this, a lot of women and men, of course, but like, you know, just having that, you know, time with yourself with skincare and just getting a lovely sort of moment to like reflect on your day and think about yourself, what you want to do for the rest of the week. Actually, the older I've gotten, I've fallen into really liking cooking as well, even though I know it's not necessarily a ritual, but I suppose it is because we, you know, we eat every day and I actually tried to cook every day, whether that's actually really simple stuff that you can bang in and just, you know, not think too much, or if it's trying to make something from scratch or something brand new. So for me, that's like a type of ritual where I really do just shut off and I really enjoy it. Whereas when I was about 25, even 5 years ago, I was like, this is such a chore. Like, why does anyone bother cooking? And now I love it because it really is that time to go, nothing else matters. Let me put my, you know, all into this half an hour of whatever it is. So yeah, I'd say those two things. And I also, I suppose it's not a ritual, but I love watching like cooking videos. Like they just make me feel so happy, like whether it's Nigella or Gokwan. I love Gokwan. Gokwan's cooking is the best thing ever. So that's like my thing.
I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Seriously, thank you so much for this gorgeous half an hour. You're doing so amazing. We just really,
we just really want to know if you've got any upcoming projects, like what can we see you in next? What can we see you in currently? I mean, we already know Town Called Malice is out, which hair and makeup, by the way, absolutely outstanding.
And the looks, the costumes, wow.
They just did the most incredible job. Like the whole entire aesthetic of that show is so me as well. Like I love the 80s, you know, we all love the 80s because I think such a nostalgic time, you know, looking back at, I know it was such a unique period of time, so wacky, so bold, so fun, and you get kind of like electric. There's something in the air. But yeah, the show A Town Called Malice is still on Sky, which is amazing. As for now, I don't think we're going to get renewed, which is such a shame. I know. It's just one of these things that happens, I think, because there's just so much out there these days. You know, it's hard for networks to carry things on. So who's to say, you know, never know where it might go one day, or, you know, so for now, we know that it might not carry on as far as we know. But other than that, I've got a couple of short films coming out. One is called A Little Brown Bird, which I had such a fun time shooting in the Isle of Man with John Rhys Davies, who plays Gimli in Lord of the Rings. So I was just like,
wow.
I know. I was like, oh my goodness. He is an absolute icon, such a brilliant man. And I play his daughter. And it's a bit like, because the show The Last Kingdom I used to play a lot older than I am. And this was again a role where I'm a lot older. I'm probably in my 50s, I think, in this short film, and I love those kinds of roles. I absolutely love them. And so it's delving into kind of a transformation character, and it's got a very sort of spooky twist to it. It's a very brilliant film. So that will be coming out. And just kind of keeping things going and seeing what's on the horizon, I guess. And turning 30. Oh, that's what
brilliant. Oh, fab. Can't wait. I know. That sounds brilliant. Thank you so much for everything. We've loved it.
Thank you to all of Sunday Girl team. I just think you guys are the best. Just awesome.
They're all here.
We're all here in the background behind.
They're all working their laptops. Have a lovely day, and we'll no doubt chat on Instagram.
Amazing.